Okay, so deep dive time, everyone. And today, we're talking goldfish.
Goldfish. Okay.
Yeah, goldfish care specifically. I mean,
Yeah.
we want to make sure we're doing right by our little finned friends, right? Not just, keeping them alive, but like really helping them thrive.
Thriving.
And lucky for us, we've got this awesome ebook as our guide, Goldfish Care 101. This thing, it's like seriously comprehensive.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we're going to be diving deep into this thing, busting
Okay.
some myths along the way. Like, for example, goldfish. They're not just like starter pets.
Yeah.
Simple and easy.
Right.
There's actually a lot more to it.
Yeah, way more than you think. I mean, these guys can actually live for like a decade or more if you take good care of them.
A decade.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so this ebook jumps right into those misconceptions right from the start, talking
Yeah.
about tank size, filtration, water quality. It's a whole world I never even knew existed.
Okay. Yeah, it's about like mimicking their natural habitat as much as possible, like creating a mini ecosystem in your tank. The book gets into like the whole science of their digestion, how goldfish, they produce a ton of waste because of their diet, high protein and all that.
Interesting.
And so a bigger tank means more space for that waste to like dilute. Makes a huge difference.
Okay, so that makes sense. Everything's kind of connected, right? Like
Yeah.
with the tank size and the water and all of that.
Yeah.
And speaking of variety, I was like totally amazed by all the different types of goldfish breeds.
Different breeds, yeah.
Chapter 2 talks about all these crazy varieties like telescope eyes
Mm.
and bubble eyes. They look like little underwater aliens. It's wild.
It is pretty wild.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that like each breed, they have their own specific needs. Like those fancy ones with the big bulging eyes, they can be more prone to injuries. So you got to be careful about decorations and stuff in the tank.
Got it. So it's about like matching the right goldfish to your like lifestyle, your
Yeah.
resources. Okay, so let's talk tank setup. Chapters 3 and 4, they really hammer home the importance of tank size, right? We're not talking bowls here.
No, no bowls. Definitely not bowls.
Right, so what are we talking about?
Well, the book recommends at least 20 gallons for a single goldfish
Wow.
and even more for those fancy breeds.
Yeah.
It gives them enough room to swim properly, and it helps keep the water like stable and healthy.
Okay, so you mentioned the water, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
This ebook talks about pH, ammonia, nitrates. Honestly, it's a little overwhelming at first,
Yeah, it can be.
but it does a really good job of explaining like the science behind it all. Can you kind of break it down for us? Like, why are these things so important?
Sure. So, like ammonia, for example, that's a byproduct of fish waste, right? And it's toxic. But you've got these beneficial bacteria in the tank, and they like break down the ammonia into nitrates.
Okay,
Nitrates are less harmful, and you get rid of them with regular water changes.
got it. So basically, you need a good filter to keep those good bacteria happy.
Exactly. A good filter is key. And the ebook talks about all different types of filters, like canister filters, which are great for those larger tanks we talked about.
Okay.
Canister filters provide like really thorough filtration, mechanical, biological, chemical, the whole shebang.
Wow, so much to think about.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible how much work goes into creating a healthy home for these little guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's feeding, which I got to say, chapter 5, it's like a whole deep dive into goldfish cuisine.
Goldfish cuisine, haha, yeah.
Pellets, flakes, even live food.
Right.
So it's not just about like sprinkling some flakes and calling it a day.
Nope. Variety is super important. Just like us, goldfish need a balanced diet to be healthy.
Makes sense.
The book recommends like high quality pellets as the staple.
Okay.
And then you can supplement with like treats, bloodworms, brine shrimp, stuff like that.
Oh, fancy.
But you got to be careful not to overfeed them because that can mess up the balance of your tank. Remember, it's an ecosystem, right?
Right, that ecosystem. Balance is key. And speaking of balance, chapter 6 is all about maintaining that balance through regular cleaning. It outlines all these weekly and monthly tasks. It doesn't seem too overwhelming, actually. But is there anything, like any specific tip that you found particularly helpful?
Well, one thing that really stuck with me was using a gravel vacuum during water changes.
A gravel vacuum.
Yeah, it sucks up all the debris that settles at the bottom of the tank, prevents like toxins from building up, and it keeps the water nice and clear. It's a simple thing, but makes a big difference.
Got it. Good tip. So even with the best care, things happen. Fish can get sick. And chapter 7 dives into common goldfish illnesses.
Yeah.
I gotta say, reading that chapter actually made me feel a lot more prepared, as a potential goldfish owner.
Yeah, knowledge is definitely power when it comes to like pet care.
For sure.
And the book really stresses the importance of like observation. Knowing your goldfish and what their normal behavior looks like so you can catch any changes early on. Early detection is so important if they do get sick.
Totally agree. Okay, so last but not least, Chapter 8. This is the breeding chapter. So are you ready to become a goldfish grandparent?
Haha. Well, breeding goldfish, that's a whole other level of, like, commitment.
Oh, yeah.
The book goes into detail about setting up a separate breeding tank, conditioning the parents, caring for the babies.
Wow.
It's definitely fascinating, but you really got to do your research first. Be prepared for the responsibility.
Okay, good advice. So we've covered a lot of ground today. It's incredible. I had no idea there was so much to goldfish care.
Right. It's more than just a bowl and some flakes.
Way more. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is the better you understand your goldfish, the better you can care for them.
Yeah.
And Chapter 2, that really goes deep into goldfish behavior, their personalities.
Yeah, they totally have personalities and, likes and dislikes. Once you get to know them, it becomes more than just owning a pet. It's like building a bond with this, like, fascinating, intelligent creature.
That's beautifully said. So to all our listeners out there, we highly encourage you to check out Goldfish Care 101. You're now equipped with the knowledge to not just keep a goldfish alive, but to create a happy, thriving little world for them. Happy fish keeping.
Happy fish keeping.